Hello and welcome to this lecture on marketing management. In this lecture, we are going to talk about the topic global marketing, and we will also discuss about the global marketing environment. So, I'll take you through the slides, and with the use of examples, we are going to understand what global marketing means and what are the features and what are the advantages, disadvantages of global marketing, as well as the various elements of global marketing. And after that, we are going to talk about the global marketing environment, in which we are going to see the internal as well as the external global marketing environment. So, with this, I would like to shift the slide and start with the concepts. So, first of all, we will talk about what global marketing means. So, as we know that marketing is a collection of functions, and marketing is about gathering the inputs from the consumers as to what they need, and after understanding the consumers needs, the company has to develop a solution according to what the consumer requires, and once the company is able to develop the solution, the company has to offer the solution to the consumer. So, distribution is required. Alongside, the company has to make sure that the consumers are aware about the product and services being offered. So, when the company thinks about awareness, then promotions come in. So, the company has to make sure that the proper promotions are done, so that the consumers can come to know that the product is being offered. And when the consumers use the product after purchasing, the company has to make sure that they are satisfied. So, it has to take feedback from the consumer, and then it has to work on those feedbacks and solve whatever the problems and issues that the customers face. So, this is in short what marketing comprises of, although there are so many more activities that marketing comprises of, but these are the major ones. Now, when the marketing is done on a larger scale, when it moves beyond the parent country or the home country, and when it spreads across the globe, it is called global marketing. So, global marketing comprises of two words, global as well as marketing. So, marketing happens as it happens, but it happens on a very large scale, or rather on a global scale. So, we can take the example of so many products which are available globally, and global marketing is done for them. It's a typical, it's complicated, it's difficult, it takes into account the various cultures, subcultures, the government, the various laws. But there are products which are doing global marketing. So, we can take the example of Coca-Cola. So, basically it is a US company, but Coca-Cola is sold in almost all the countries of the world today. We can take the example of Apple phones, which are highly standardized, and the Apple phones are also sold globally. Then there are so many automobile manufacturers like Mercedes-Benz or the BMW, who are selling their automobiles across the globe. So, these are the products which are being sold across the globe, and marketing for these products is also happening on a global scale. So, global marketing, as is mentioned here, is the marketing on a worldwide scale, reconciling or taking global operational differences. So, there would be differences when global marketing is talked about. There would be operational differences as the company moves from one country to the other, but these global differences, or rather global operational differences, are taking into account, and the similarities and the opportunities in order to reach the global objectives. So, companies with global objectives do global marketing, and the companies which have an ambition to reach various parts of the world and to sell their products and services in various countries across the globe, they do global marketing. Global marketing is also a field of study. So, because we are studying global marketing here, and I am giving a presentation on it and you are listening. So, global marketing is also a field of study. So, it is a part of marketing. So, global marketing is also a field of study in general, business management that markets products, solutions and services to customers internationally and globally. So, in this discipline or in this field of study, we talk about the products which are marketed globally or internationally. So, it is also a field of study as well as it is also in practice. Then there are some features of global marketing. So, let me read out what are the features and then we will try to understand these features through examples. Global marketing relies on firms that understand the requirements associated with servicing customers with global standard solutions or products. So, products and services with global standards are offered in global marketing. We can take the example of the iPhone, we can take the example of the iPod, we can take the example of Coca-Cola, we can take the example of BMW, we can take the example of the very famous photocopy machine Xerox. So, Xerox is also available in various countries across the globe. So, in global marketing, the products and services which are produced are of global standards, and the standards remain same when the product moves from one country to the other. And it is mentioned here that global marketing relies on firms that understand the requirements which are associated with servicing customers with global standards. So, these companies or these organizations, they understand the requirements which are needed for global marketing and for making available products with global standards to population across the various countries around the globe. So, this is the first feature. The second feature says that global marketing and global branding are integrated. So, global branding goes alongside global marketing. We can take the example of Micromax phones. So, Micromax phones were initially launched in India, and when Micromax phones were marketed in the public, in India there was an Indian brand ambassador, while for selling the Micromax phones across the globe, Micromax selected Phil Hughes as Hughes Jackman as the global brand ambassador. So, Micromax phones marketed their phones across the globe with a different strategy of selecting Hugh Jackman as the global brand ambassador, while there was someone else who was the Indian brand ambassador of Micromax phones. So, global branding and global marketing go hand in hand, and these are very much integrated and tied into each other. A third feature says that global marketing includes the whole process of planning, producing, placing and promoting a company's products in a worldwide market. So, it is a cumbersome process, it is a process that takes a lot of efforts, because the products have to be marketed, they have to be placed and they have to be taken, distributed in a worldwide market. But there are certain distinct advantages also, as we will see in the slides to come. So, these were certain features of global marketing. Now, we will talk about the elements of global marketing mix. So, these are the various elements of global marketing mix, as we can see here. The various elements of global marketing mix are, let me read out one by one and then we will elaborate these in the slides to come. There is the product or the offering, then price is one of the element. Price is the amount of money that the customer has to pay in order to acquire the product or experience the service. Then place is the manner of distribution. It is the place is about how the product is being made available to the consumer. Promotion is about making people aware about the product or the service, and it is about making the people recall the brand name of the product or the service. Then these are the three components which are specifically related to services: people, process and physical evidence. So, when we talk about people, we are basically talking about human resource. Now, we should understand that a service cannot be offered without people, and whenever the services are being offered, people automatically come into play, unless the service is fully automated. So, if the service is not completely automated, people do come into play, and it is only through people that the companies are able to offer service. Process can be defined as the sequence of activities. So, when the services are offered to the consumer, there is a sequence of activities leading to the service. So, process is about the various activities which are placed one after the other, and this sequence, this logical sequence of activities ultimately lead towards the consumer satisfaction or fulfilling the requirement of the consumer with the service or the product. So, this is about process, and last but not the least, there is physical evidence. So, in case of a service, the physical evidence is the proof that the service has been experienced by the consumer. So, physical evidence is about the evidence, and it is more about the environment in which the service is being offered to the consumer. Now, let us take a look at each of these element in detail. So, product is about the minimum level of performance, and this is placed onto each product, and it is about the offering which is offered to the consumer on a worldwide scale. So, we have example of Coca-Cola. Now, Coca-Cola is offering its variants to the worldwide markets. So, there is a Diet Coke, and then there is a normal Coca-Cola which is being offered, and the Diet Coke is used by the consumers who are diabetic or having sugar issues. So, such is the product. The price varies from market to market. So, when the Coca-Cola is selling this product in US, it is charging in US dollars, while it's charging in Indian rupees in India, and it must be charging in other currencies, and the prices vary from market to market. So, there is a market based pricing. The place refers to the point of the sale. So, we can underline this. It refers to the POS, the point of sale, how and exactly where the product and the service is being made available to the consumer for consumption. The distribution of the product is reliant on the competition offered to the market, and distribution channels keep evolving. So, products which were made available only through physical distribution channels 20 years ago or 10 years ago are now available on online channels. So, distribution channels keep evolving with time. Promotion is about the advertising, the word of mouth, the press reports, that is PR, public relations, incentives, commissions and awards to the trade, and also include customers, rewards and discounts. So, customer rewards and discounts are a part of the sales strategy. These are the part of the sales promotion, while promotion also includes advertising and word of mouth. Now, advertising is the type of promotion that will always require money. So, advertising is the paid form of promotion, while the word of mouth is the free form of promotion which does not require money, and it is done by the customers of the business themselves. Then we come to people. Then people may be considered to be the firm's most valuable assets. Now, I am saying so because it is only through people that the jobs are done in a company, and especially when the company is serving the customers or when it is offering a service is always offered through people. So, people are indispensable for a service organizations, and people are indirectly the reason behind customers' loyalty. So, when the customers are served well, the people are responsible for serving the customers well, and when the customers are served well, they become loyal customers, and every company dreams of creating a huge army of loyal customers in order to keep earning sustainable profits and increasing its revenue growth. So, indirectly we can say that people are the reason for customer loyalty. So, if the people of the company serve the customers well, the customers are converted into loyal customers. Then we talk about process. It is mentioned that processes for creating and delivering products and services are intangible assets. So, processes are about the sequence of activities that lead the consumer to consume that particular service or get the product. And sometimes the processes also impact the quality of the product and services, and almost always the processes will influence consumer satisfaction, or rather consumers' experience. So, every organization tries to make the processes convenient and easy for the consumers, so that whether a consumer is purchasing a product or whether the consumer is purchasing a service, he or she can obtain the product or the service easily in a convenient fashion, and the process is easy to follow for the consumer. So, that is very necessary. because when the process is very cumbersome and difficult for the consumer to follow, then it becomes a deterrent and the consumer stops interacting with the company and purchasing the products and services from that particular company. Now, after processes, now we talk about physical evidence. So, there are trust requirements before a customer makes a purchase from a company. So, the trust requirements are that the consumer wants to make sure that especially in the companies which do not have a store presence. So, the companies without a brick and mortar must provide existential proof of their legitimate existence. For example, if we talk about a software company, and if the software company is operating online, then before the purchase is made, a consumer would like to make sure that the company really exists and it is not a fraud. So, the company has to give the proof of its existence online, and only then the customer would trustfully purchase the product or the service from the company. So, physical evidence is more about the proof that the customers require that they are taking a service and it is a genuine company, and for the service which they are taking they should be given some kind of an evidence. So, that is about physical evidence. So, we have covered these 7 components, the elements of global marketing mix, that is product, price, place, promotion, people, process and physical evidence. Now, we talk about the advantages of global marketing. So, when we are talking about the advantages of global marketing, one of the advantages of global marketing are economies of scale. Now, what exactly is meant by economies of scale? So, when mass production is achieved, now when the company is doing marketing on a global scale, it means it has to make the product available to consumers worldwide. Now, when it is aiming to make the product available to the consumers worldwide, it will have to produce huge quantity of products. Now, when the company is producing huge quantity of products, automatically the production volume would increase, and when the production volume would increase, the costs would go down. We know that whenever the company produces products on a mass scale, the fixed costs as well as the overall costs go down. So, when the costs go down due to mass production, we say that economies of scale have been achieved. So, economies of scale are one of the advantages of global marketing, and the economies of scale are achieved not only in production, but these are also achieved in distribution, because after the production what the company has to aim at is efficient distribution. So, this brings in cost cutting, and this brings in a lot of cost efficiency both in production as well as distribution. After this, we talk about the lower marketing costs. So, when the production efficiency increases, marketing costs go down, and marketing costs also go down when the consumers start doing word of mouth. So, in the promotion, when the consumers start doing word of mouth, the marketing costs go down, and the company gains from this kind of a free publicity. Then the next advantage is consistency in brand image. So, we can take the example of Apple. So, Apple phones have a consistent brand image throughout the globe, and people prefer to purchase Apple, and these are so whenever the new variant of an Apple iPhone is launched, it is sold very quickly, and then the consumers continue demanding more and more. So, such is the consistency of brand image, that brand image has a sustainable, it carries on sustainably. So, consistency in brand image is one of the advantages of global marketing. Then uniformity of marketing practices. So, a lot of marketing practices become uniform when global marketing is done, and there is a lot of standardization that the company achieves in terms of products and practices and processes, and this standardization helps the company in the longer run, and this is one of the advantages of global marketing. Then global marketing helps to establish relationships outside of political arena. So, a company is operating in a home country, the home country has got certain political environment, The political environment outside the home country is different. So, when the company moves from different countries, the political environment changes, and therefore, global marketing helps the company to come to understand the political arenas outside of its home country also. So, it helps to establish relationships, and in the process of global marketing, the organization establishes relationships with the governments of various countries, and it moves outside its own political arena. So, in a way, that horizon is largely and greatly expanded. The next advantage that the company has is to help the encourage ancillary industries. So, because the company is doing global marketing, a lot many auxiliary industries are set up or supporting industries are set up in various countries as well as in the home country. So, if we talk about automobile industry, then the car manufacturers have many ancillary or auxiliary industries such as the tire manufacturer and the engine manufacturers, etc., and the assemblers, etc. So, lot many ancillary industries come up because of the global marketing, and these come up to cater to the needs of the global players. So, we can take the example of Apple. Apple has a manufacturing unit in China, and Apple has manufacturing units in India, while Apple is basically a firm which is based in US. So, a lot of ancillary industries are set up across the globe that make components for Apple particularly, and Apple through this thing gets a cost advantage, because India and China are known for the cheap manufacturing, cheap labor, and this gives a lot of benefit to the Apple, and then the manufacturing and the mobile phones are marketed worldwide. The next benefit says that the benefits of e-marketing over traditional marketing. So, e-marketing, as we know, is the marketing which is done through internet, and 10 years back or 15 years back, the products which were outside the ambit of online marketing have now come under the purview of online marketing, and online marketing is relatively cost effective, as well as even the smaller companies can think about reaching global market through e-marketing, because it is not possible for the smaller companies to invest in physical assets in foreign lands. While using e-marketing, even they can think about going to a wider audience on a global scale. So, global marketing, if done in the form of e-marketing, it offers a lot of benefits over traditional marketing. Then we come to the disadvantages of global marketing. Now, there are certain disadvantages, or rather drawbacks or demerits of global marketing. It is very difficult for the smaller firms to participate in global marketing, and therefore, the space is reserved for the larger firms by and large. Then there can be differences in consumers' needs, wants and uses patterns. Different countries, different consumers, different patterns of usage and different requirements. Differences in consumer response to marketing mix elements. So, the promotion, the response to companies' promotion may not be uniform. It might be different in different countries depending on the kind of promotion which is being done, depending on the culture and the subculture. So, these things come into play. Then another disadvantage is that the differences in the brand and product development and competitive environment. Each country has its own competitive environment. Each country has its own set of laws regarding competition, and therefore, it gives rise to a lot of differences in brand and product development and in the competitive environment. Then the remaining two disadvantages are the differences in the legal environment. So, different countries have their own laws, and it is not easy for the company to operate, and it cannot operate uniformly in all the countries across the globe. So, the company has to understand the laws relating to labor, the laws relating to advertising, the laws related to consumers for each and every country separately, and only then it can successfully market its products and services globally. So, these laws can conflict with the home market. So, the company which is habitual of the laws existing in the home market, when it goes outside and when it starts marketing the products globally, it can also find that the laws which are existing in the foreign markets are very much different and are very contradictory from the laws which are existing in the home market. So, such kind of a scenario is often observed. Then there can be differences in the institutions available, some of which may be called for creation of entirely new ones. The infrastructure. In the home market, the scene may be entirely different, while in the foreign markets, the scene may be entirely different, and the company has to cope with this challenge, because if it fails to cope with this challenge, it would not be able to successfully market its product and services. So, these are the various kind of drawbacks or big challenges that a company or an organization encounters when it goes into global market and starts marketing its products and services. Now, we talk about the global marketing environment. So, every company has a marketing environment. So, when the company is marketing the products globally, it has to face the global marketing environment. So, global marketing is particularly important for the products that have universal demand, such as food and automobiles. We can also include phones such as iPhones. We can include Coca-Cola, soft drinks, etc. So, the second point says that a beverage company is likely to be in markets than say a wooden toy company, but even a wooden toy company may find niche markets in diverse corners of the world. So, the products which have a global appeal and a global demand, the organization manufacturing such products are more likely to be in the global space. The global marketing environment can be defined as all forces inside the or outside the organization which impacts the marketing strategy to build and maintain successful relationship with the consumer. In short, how we can define the global marketing environment? A global marketing environment can be defined as a set or a collection of all the forces which would impact the company's efforts to market its products or services worldwide. So, in the next slide we are going to show a diagram. So, as we can see, this is the diagram which shows the complete global marketing environment. Now, we can see that at the core of this diagram is the marketing management, while the inner circle talks about micro environment. We can say the outer circle talks about the macro environment. Now, the micro environment and the macro environment are different from each other in the way that micro environment is controllable by and large, and micro environment has a limited scope, whereas the macro environment is by and large uncontrollable and the macro environment has got a larger expanse. So, let me read out certain elements of the marketing micro global marketing environment. The elements of the micro environment are: there are the intermediaries. These intermediaries are helping the company in taking the products to consumers. So, these are the intermediaries in the supply chain. Then there are the suppliers. The suppliers supply raw material for production. We have the customers. Customers are the ones who are purchasing the products and services of the company. Then we have publics, general public, the competitors and also the company. So, these constitute the micro environment. While when we talk about the macro environment, we talk about an acronym called PESTEL. So, this acronym PESTEL means this stands for political environment, the E stands for economic environment, the S stands for the socio-economic environment, this E stands for the ecological environment, while L stands for the legal environment. So, PESTEL is an acronym which can be used for explaining the macro environment which is out of control of the organization. And here are these the natural environment or the ecological environment, the demographic, economic, cultural, political, legal and technological environment, which is written here. So, the T stands for technological environment. and the micro as well as the macro environment, these functions in tandem. So, these are the environments which function together and they collectively make an impact on the marketing efforts of the company. So, a company has to look into the micro as well as the macro environment simultaneously, and then it has to assess its effort, the marketing efforts for marketing of the product and services across the globe. So, this is about the global marketing environment, and it is a complex environment wherein a lot of forces are in interplay with each other, and the company has to manage all its forces simultaneously, and then it has to continue with its efforts in marketing the products and services. So, with this, let us take a quick recap of the topics that we have studied in this lecture. In this lecture, we started with the meaning of the global marketing. We studied the definition of the global marketing as well as its meaning. Then we came to the elements of the global marketing. There were 7 distinct elements like product, price, place, promotion, people, process and physical evidence. And then we took note of the details of all these various elements along with their examples. So, whereas the product was about the offering, the price was about the money, place was about the method of distribution and making the product available to the consumer. Promotion was about making people aware of the product as well as making them recall about the brand. People was about the human resource or the company through which the services are offered to the consumer. Process was about the sequence of activities that lead to the fulfillment of the requirement, and physical evidence was about the existential proof and other proof of experiencing the service. Then after these elements of global marketing, we came to certain advantages. So, those advantages, and then we talked about the global marketing environment. With this, I came to the end of the lecture. Thank you so much.